All right, we have more breaking news coverage here on ABC News Live reports. The jury reaching a partial verdict in the sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs. A note sent to the judge saying that the jury is unable to reach a verdict on the racketeering conspiracy count, adding that there are, quote, unpersuadable opinions. Both prosecution and defense attorneys agreeing with the judge's plans to instruct the jury to continue deliberations, and the next steps are apparently being debated right now. We just actually got an update that the judge brought the jury back into the courtroom to tell them to continue the deliberating. They also said they can decide if they want to do that this evening or return to resume tomorrow in the morning. For more on this, I want to bring in ABC News legal contributor and trial attorney Brian Buckmeyer, who has been following this along with us. And Brian, you brought up something called an Allen charge, which, and I'm going to attempt to put my legal hat on here, but that is essentially a jury rendering a partial verdict here that the judge could potentially accept.
Well, Alex, I gotta say, you didn't pass the bar, but you know a little bit, and you do know a lot. Yes, an Allen charge comes from the Supreme Court case where if a jury has gotten to a point like we have here, where they say they're at an impasse, and they feel for whatever reason that there cannot be a meeting of the mind of the 12 people, that they cannot go forward. And initially what will happen is a judge will read either the standard language of an Allen charge, and you can Google it, and you can probably find it for the Estee Lauder or any kind of federal court, or they would kind of modify the language, making it shorter or longer, or emphasizing more aspects of it, depending on what the sides agree to. And basically what you're telling the jury is, it's your job to keep pushing forward. It's difficult, and we understand you may have different opinions, but lean on each other, talk to each other, try to converse, and see if there's other facts or arguments or suggestions where you can all come to consensus, whatever that consensus is. And in an Allen charge, you cannot feel like you are moving the needle in one way or the other. It has to be absolutely neutral. It cannot be suggesting that you must convict or that you must acquit, and that's that. But this last message to the jury by the judge, I think is going to be more telling than anything else. Because right now, it's 5:20 p.m. The judge has always instructed them that they can come back the next day. Tomorrow is Wednesday. It's still well within the game to come back and deliberate. Friday is July 4th, that's a day off. Thursday, they were told they're going to be off as well. And so if the jury says we are willing to stay, that would be a strong indication that they're close to a verdict, and we might get one today. If they say that they have to come back tomorrow, that would be a strong indication that the opinions of people are so strong, they're hoping that they can maybe sleep on it and come back tomorrow and start again. What we hear next from the jury will be very telling.
Well, and Brian, because this situation is developing literally as we speak, we just heard that the judge sent the jury back to the deliberation room. He gave them the option to either resume deliberations today or to adjourn and return in the morning. Said that he instructed them to send back a note whenever they came to a decision. They have come to a decision. They are adjourning for the day. They will be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. to resume those deliberations. But I want to get back to these counts. We've got 5 counts here, the most severe of which is that racketeering conspiracy, which carries a maximum sentence of life in prison. But counts 2 and 3 are also quite severe. And count 2 does also have that maximum sentence of life in prison as well.
Yeah, and it's not just, I know oftentimes when we talk in the news, it's easier to talk about the max, but oftentimes the minimum is the most harsh, because for those sex trafficking allegations, sex trafficking either Cassie or Jane, there's a minimum of 15 years. And I think it's very important when you're talking about anyone, but especially when you're talking about a 55-year-old, because you're talking about if Sean Combs is found guilty of even just sex trafficking Cassie, he's not going to be able to get out until he is 70 years old. Now, when it comes to the feds, you often do 85% of your...
Yep, you do 85% of the time in the feds. Now, here's the thing that most people don't understand. Sean Diddy Combs, in this trial, they sent a note earlier because they wanted to watch the trial again. They wanted to watch and see some footage or go over some of the details in the Cassie tape in the beginning of it. So they sent that note in earlier. So they're really fighting in there. If this was a clear-cut decision, this would be clear-cut to the letter right now as we speak. So to give you some clarity as to what's going on here. Sean Diddy Combs, there's already a decision made uh, on at least one of the counts, or one of the they have a partial verdict, but they're working on the rest. Now, a lot of people says this means he's guilty. He's 100% guilty, and they want to see about the other stuff. Is he's guilty on that? That's not guaranteed. That's just people trolling. Um, the problem is when you have a situation like this that has a lot of eyes on it, they just want to make sure they do their part, because if they do something, it's going to be eyes all on the jury. Now, they had the general public make a decision as to, what do you believe, public? Do you believe Sean Puffy Combs is this guy? If you don't believe he's this guy, let's move this way or that way. It has become very tiresome. Ooh, that was my stretch. But very tiresome when you look at everything in its totality. It's become exhausting. That's why I'm like, can you imagine him going through this? This is mentally exhausting. I had a case, I was facing 4 felonies. And I went to court by myself, no family with me. And I arrived there with my my lawyer, went before the judge, and I won my case. And I had the choice, by bench or by jury. And I chose the judge, the bench. Yep, in the bench, it was already done before I got in there. Yeah, it was already done before I came into the courtroom. It was the weirdest thing. I got on the elevator to go up to meet my lawyer. I was on the elevator with the 2 cops that arrested me. They were on the same elevator as me. We didn't speak. And I was like, these are the 2 female cops that arrested me. I went into the courtroom, to get ready to go into the courtroom. I went in with the lawyers, the 2 cops. They come in, and he was like, all right, you ready? We ready to go before this judge? Ready to do the case and all that? Just wait for us to call a name. We'll call you up. I had a tie with $100 bills on it, all on the tie. I had a money green tie with a green shirt. Got my slacks on. I show up in there, and the judge was the coolest dude on earth. Like, my lawyer was a former state's attorney. So he already knew which judge is cool with him and which is not. He put in an order to change the judge for the case. He said, oh, you got to sign to this judge? Nah, I don't work well with him. We're going to put in a request for a new judge. Don't worry about it. I was like, okay. So we put in a request for a new judge. We put in a request for a new judge. And because we put in that request, we got a judge that he was like, oh yeah, I can work with this guy. Like, I know him. And my God, it was over. Like, 4 felonies, gone. I was like, wow. It was like magic. I mean, it was so weird. The cops got up there and spoke. Like, I felt bad for the prosecutor. The prosecutor put the cops on the stand and said, did he seem this and did he seem this way? They were saying everything in my defense. I'm like, what kind of shit is this? And she was looking at me like, no, he was nice. No, he did this. And I'm like, well, why the hell you arrest me then? 4 felonies, all gone. Wiped out. And they was like, Your Honor, the car wasn't his. The gun wasn't operable. This is a young kid. We don't want to destroy this man's life already. And he was like, judge was like, not guilty. And he was like, I want you to know how lucky you was. I don't want to see you in this courtroom again. Oh, you won't. And he haven't. I haven't been to court in that jail cell ever since. And I said, wow, this was crazy. Me and my lawyer sat there. You did it. You great. And I was like, I hope I never see you again. But I will definitely refer you to people. And to this day, me and him are still friends, like still speak. And we've been going over the Diddy case. We've been going over this situation. We've been going over all of it. And what you can see right now, this is a bad spot. What he was saying that this case should have really been dismissed. Like a lot of this stuff is unprecedented. Like when he's like, listen, I've tried law in every state. I've never seen this done. Never. He was like, how do you get to racketeering? He said, this is new. And he's saying he feels bad for people of the past because now people are going to come back and this is going to target, he's like, I hate to say it, but it's going to target you African American more than anything. Especially if you're rich African American and you're doing something like mostly rappers. This thing here is going to destroy you. This case right here, if Sean Diddy Combs is found guilty, all the rappers are in trouble. I said, wow. That's the same thing I was saying. I was saying men in general, black men. Why they sitting here, yeah, the diddler, get him. I'm like, what are you cheering for, dummy? This gonna be you. And you ain't got Diddy money. All that Future, you imagine Future in court? Man, you said in the song you gave her half a Xan. That's Your Honor. That's drug distribution right there. He gave her half the Xan. She said she doesn't want one, and he forced it down her throat, Your Honor. Racketeering, the conspiracy of it. Then he drove her to a hotel from New York to Jersey, across state lines. That's transportation just to engage in prostitution. They do. This is crazy. If my lawyer, trust me, that lawyer who got me out of 4 felonies know what the hell he's talking about. He the one said this should have been dismissed a long time ago. There's no evidence. They're twisting words in text messages to make them say what they want them to say. He's like, this man, he's like, it was prosecutorial misconduct on the government side through the whole trial. He's like, it should have been a mistrial. This man did not get a fair trial. He said they created so much of a toxicity outside of it with this leaked video that they allowed in evidence and it's edited. He believes Sean Diddy Combs, this is political. Something behind this is more bigger than the liquor company. The lawyer that I know, Mr. Mondry, says this is something political. So, which takes me back to Diddy starting that black political party and going against the Democrats. He believes it's political. He says he's seen this when people stop paying their funds or donations to certain charities of political parties that they were aligned to. So in this case, Diddy, who pays money, who used to pay money and be frontline with all these Democratic conventions, if he start pulling his money, saying, well, I'm not going to give you guys money until I know what you're going to do for the black community, and we're going to start our own party, and you're no longer going to get our vote. And Diddy has been one of the, basically the whip, one of the whips for the damn left, whipping black people to go in there and vote. All these young folks. And they get nothing out of it. So if he's starting to say, hey, I'm going to take those votes away, politically, that's not going to be good for him. Someone in New York could have a grudge or an axe to grind with him. And they know all your secrets. They know that you like freak offs. They know all this stuff. They were willing to put up with that. You know how many of them doing freak offs? Shoot, you know how many of them done killed strippers and women of the night to keep things quiet? You know how many of them done threw little boys out of windows when the feds was coming through the door in other countries, police? A lot. The things you guys don't know that we didn't talk about on the Patreon just yet, till today. No, Diddy is in a position now, as you see it right there. They've only come to a decision, a partial decision, in which they're probably going to come back tomorrow and see if they can get this done. Now, they have what they call the Allen charge. And that's what they were saying, that they could just say, we can't come to a decision on the rest of these, but this one we came to a decision to. So you can just charge them for these and let the rest of these go. But I'm quite sure they just want this part dealt with and over with. Look at the charges. Racketeering, conspiracy, trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, transportation to engage, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, transportation to engage in it. So they've already have a partial verdict in the case. Now, here's the serious part of it. It's very serious. So the judge instructed them to keep going and try to keep going and pushing through the night. Diddy has been upbeat today, very positive energy, told his mom, hey, it's going to be okay. And that's today as he was in the courtroom while the family and everybody was in the courtroom today. It's been all kind of reports. Diddy family's throwing him they're planning this big 4th of July party for Diddy when he comes home and all of this stuff. Look, all of these things that people are saying is trying to sway a narrative that, oh, Diddy's already know he's coming home. He's optimistic. He's reading about positivity and everything. What else he's got to do? Staying positive is the only way he can get through this. I couldn't see it no other way. Well, I don't understand what they want by this man. You want this guy. Right. You want this guy to engage in what? Like, I'm very confused. I am. I mean, I'm confused on what people expect. Like, what do you expect from him? He's in jail. He's already behind bars. He's trying to stay as positive as possible while all this is going down. Yeah, I know. That's why people go through different stanzas. They go through different narratives. There's a lot going on in the case after everybody's saying, "Hey, deliberating is changed a lot, and we're moving in this direction." You've had a lot of people out here blowing smoke in different areas, but this has been one of the main reasons people have come out because they want to see if Diddy is actually guilty, as everyone's saying he really is. Going over the case and everything that's happened today in the courtroom has pointed it in a much different direction. The jury said it's decided, it has a partial verdict. It has 4 verdicts decided, but none on racketeering charge. So, so they probably have 4 verdicts already in the traffic by fours, count 2, 3, 4, and 5. They probably have those already done. The verdicts on 4 of those. It's the racketeering one they're having a problem with. Yeah, 4 verdicts have been decided. Oh, this is still going on like right now as we speak. It just ended. Like when I hit the start the video, they sent everybody home. Oh, they came in crying all day. So the judge talked to Comey, who's on the government side, and says, "Can we make sure that things have been emailed in for the docket?" And judge said, "I am adopting the government's answer to the drug distribution question." They said, "Can we just put something on the record?" That's what Diddy's thing saying. "Can we put something on the record about sole possession? This definition of distribution would mislead the jury." And they was like, but the judge was like, "Hold on. Both sides agrees to this definition without objection. So what is it?" He says, "1 second." And here comes the government. "They're trying to mislead the jury." And right away, here they come with this nonsense. And judge said they have been specific in their question, and so is the answer. So he says, "Your Honor, can we just mark our defensive proposal as a court exhibit?" And he says, "Yes." I said, "Thank you." So that's all he wanted to do. So about 10:30 Eastern time, a note emerged from the jury, and Diddy was brought in from the holding cell. And the lawyers was, mulling around. It was Shapiro, Agnifino. They're all hunched over a laptop. And as Agnifino and Shapiro and Steele, they were all there by the gallery. Comey turns and confers with Donaldson, Diddy's lawyer, seated in the middle of the table. Door to the holding cell was half open. The U.S. Marshal checking it to see if it's time to bring Diddy in or bring him out. So Diddy has been brought out, and Mark Agnifino is talking with him. Shapiro and Westmoreland are working together on something on Shapiro's laptop. At 10:54 a.m., Emily Johnson from the government, the AUSA, she walks up, and she decided today this was going to be her time to speak. So immediately, she comes up and she hands a piece of paper over to Diddy's lawyer. And the AUSA Comey goes and sits next to Mr. Donaldson, and she's on her laptop. And they're asking, the judge said, "We received a note from the jury asking for testimony of Cassandra Ventura as to the Intercontinental and the Canes incident and the Daniel Phillip excess hotel incident." So Daniel Phillip's testimony on that, as well as Cassie's testimony about what happened in Canes and what happened in the Intercontinental Hotel. And here comes the government. "We have a disagreement." And he said, "First, let me know if either side minds me bringing the jury out and speaking to them." We don't see a need. That's what the government, it's like, we don't want them to come out. We don't see a need to do that. And Agnifino said, "I confer with Mr. Combs, and he doesn't see a need either." As to any future note, the judge said, okay, well, with any future note, let me know. So he was like, why are you bringing the jury out? Let them do what they doing. Both sides is like, let them cook. So AUSA Johnson, she's like, we have a disagreement about this redirect, about the cans incident and the events immediately following. The answer was to what happened when Sean was angry. It referred to the freak off that occurred upon landing in New York. The judge said, I would likely cut it off sooner. Diddy lawyer said, I have nothing to add to this. They said, we might need to speak to the court about the Intercontinental. The judge said, let my deputy know when you're ready. I'll come back. So that was adjourned. They left. They came back at noon. And they said, I understand there's an issue to resolve. He said, well, I understand that during the break, the defense came up with an issue about Daniel Phillips. And they said, Donaldson came up. He said, the U.S. wants one more question and answer in that, and then we do, in his later thoughts. And they was like, what? He's like, the answer is about the XS Hotel, that incident. AUSA Johnson on the Intercontinental Hotel incident, she was like, we think it's the day of and after, not the days before. That's our position. The defense want us to include Mrs. Ventura Instagram post of 2024. And Tenny Guerrero said, we did include several messages from after the Intercontinental incident where they're talking about it. It's regarding the incident. It's important to weigh whether Mr. Combs coerced Mrs. Ventura into commercial sex on that date. And the judge said the request for Ms. Ventura's testimony regarding the Intercontinental incident. How does something from 2024 regarding it more than the things closer in time? And Guerrero says in 2024, she was responding to the video of the incident and also watching it here. And AUSA Johnson says she was asked, do you recall posting on Instagram in May of 2024? She wrote that domestic violence is the issue, but that's not what the jury is asking about. We like more about the cans incident. And Guerrero says, Tenny was like, hey, look, we think we should start with the first government exhibit about the Intercontinental freak-off. AUSA Johnson said, if we could get a laptop back, we could load a searchable PDF file. And the judge said, I agree. Some earlier and later messages should be given. What's left? He's like, we like to include the photos she took of her injuries and the message from March 5th. And the judge says, Miss Guerreros, don't those fall into the same category? What would be the objection? She says, I have to maintain my objection to the photos. So we do not think her testimony about her Instagram post is relevant. He said, well, this is confusing. The judge said, I think it can be included. Both sides have reviewed. We proceed on this basis. So he's letting them look at more photos of Cassie and showing injuries and all this stuff. This is not a domestic case. So this is what she's saying is like, y'all taking this and making it a domestic thing, trying to weigh on it like, look at her bruises. We have to save this woman. We had failed her. You know, they really are trying to drive home this domestic thing and bring it into this case. It has nothing to do with what he's charged with. After a long haul, now Combs, Agnifino, Steele, and Shapiro are back in the courtroom, going at it again. It's 4-19 now. Now they got a new piece of paper that popped up. And the new piece of paper, who passed it on, Driscoll confers with Westmoreland, Sean Combs will not burrow into the courtroom from the holding cell. Sean Combs was brought in, stands in with his hands in his pockets as Agnifino speaks to him. His other lawyers come and huddle around him. He sits down. They update him with what's been going on. Sean Combs is sitting surrounded by his 8 lawyers who are talking. He is looking down, his hands across his lap. Sean Combs rubbing his eyes with his thumb, the other one with his index finger. The lawyer continues talking. Now, Nicole Westmoreland to Xavier Donaldson is talking, and this is at 4:30 Eastern Time. Agnifino goes forward, then returns, and Sean Combs a piece of paper. He stares at it. After talking to Agnifino, Sean Combs looked down again, resting his head in his right hand, and saying they got a note around 4:05, saying we have reached a verdict on 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the counts. We're unable to reach a verdict on count 1. So, like I said, it was count 2, 3, 4, and 5. They have reached a decision on. The racketeering, the one that gives him the life in prison, they can't come up with a decision on that one. They said, how should we, how should they respond? So they saying, we're preparing a modified Allen charge. And this is what I was talking about. A Allen charge would say, okay, we'll get an Allen charge in here, and that means we can't come to a decision on this one. But these ones we're pretty much have our decision on, so it can come up with an Allen charge. So Diddy's team said, we propose you tell them to continue deliberating and that you not take the partial verdict. No modified Allen charge. Diddy team don't want an Allen charge. And the judge said, what the defense requests, I bring the jury out to say that. And he says, after conferring with Diddy, he says, yes, bring the jury out. He said, okay, email me your proposals, each side, I'll wait. I could give a modified Allen charge, or at some point, I could just tell them they could return a partial verdict. Email me, I'll wait. So, that's where they pretty much went to a break because they finna bring the jury back in. And now everybody was like, what is the Allen charge? And they was like, Allen charge, it's a hung jury. It could do all of these different things. Well, it's a supplementary jury instruction. If they're deadlocked or they got some things to do, or they can come up with a decision on this one. They're deadlocked. It urges jurors to consider the views of their following jurors to agree on the emphasis. People don't like it who are black, and here's the reason why. If you're black and you get an Allen charge, what normally happens is that it's controversial by nature because it's feeling like it pressures jurors, and especially with black people, to abandon their opinions and everything else and go with the majority view and say, okay, well, we're going to force this Allen charge on you. And now you got to make a decision. It's terrible. So anybody who's on the fence, they want them all to get on board, and let's go ahead and try to trounce this bad man who we don't like his sexual appetite, right? Many states have prohibited or modified the use of the Allen charge due to concerns about the potential for coercion, which is weird because that's what he's being charged for. But the Allen charge is nothing but a coercion to tell the jury, look, y'all got to come to a decision. It's like, come on, man. So that's why they say they're going to send a modified version of the Allen charge. So if it's a modified version of the Allen charge, they could say, all right, we'll just throw this charge since we hung on this one. We don't have a decision for this. We're going to just put that to the side and we'll just deal with these charges we got here that y'all did. Let's go there. Well, a lot of people believe that in all sincerity, oh, this is just the beginning. If Diddy is found guilty here, all these people that's cheering and thinking it ain't gonna happen to them, I got a lot of news coming for them. Oh, because believe me, they're getting ready to turn the gun on a lot of black celebrities. So this is what I'm saying. Black people cheer for their own demise. They jump up and down. They get all excited about their own demise. It's like, do you realize this is against you? And you're jumping up cheering, yeah, get Diddy, man, yeah, kill Pac. It'll be like, buddy boy, you are so easily fooled. And unfortunately for you, you're gonna learn. You don't want this to be a law that they could throw on everybody. You don't want this to be a way that they could lock you up. You don't want this in here for you. Like I told you, they will come and get every rapper in America. So, right at 4:54 Eastern time, in the well of the courtroom, Donaldson is in a seat. Diddy is leaning back. His legal legs are crossed. Diddy doesn't look happy. So the judge said, I received side proposals. Mr. Agnifino, your proposal, there is not much there. And he says, we're not remotely at the place where the jury he said, where the jury needs more to deliberate efficiently. They are remarkably efficient. They already have 4 verdicts. So if they have a decision on 4 verdicts, let them go for the 5th. And he said, I wouldn't call the government's proposal an Allen charge. It reminds the jury of the instructions I previously gave on the duty to deliberate. I could just simply recite from the jury's charge. He said, we're not at that point yet. That's what he's saying. He's like, I'm not saying we shouldn't be at the point on Thursday or Monday. Let's wait and see. I'm putting stock in that they will have reached verdicts on 4 counts. Judge said, I'm going to stick with that, but I may give more later. But Diddy's lawyer is like, look, give the jury more time. What are we doing here? Give them more time. He's like, they've already got 4 to 5 counts. Let's let them get count number 1, which is the main count. And the judge said, I could tell them to return on July the 3rd. We could arrange that. What do the parties think? And the government said, we'll like to give them the option to deliberate on the 3rd. And he says, 1 second, Your Honor. So Agnafino's talking with Diddy. He's talking to the team. He talks back to Diddy. Diddy shook his head, and then they said, yes, Your Honor. Our preference is that you don't tell them now about Thursday. The downside is that the jurors might feel rushed to reach a verdict to avoid the Thursday issue. Let them deliberate tomorrow. You can ask at the end of tomorrow. So the judge said, so the defense will have no objection to them deliberating on the 3rd of July. No objection if they want to. Judge says, okay, bring back our jury. So the jury comes in. He said, welcome back. I received your note that you have reached verdicts on counts 2 through 5. I ask you to continue deliberating, discuss and weigh your respective opinions dispassionately, and follow my instructions on the law. I ask you to return to the jury room. If you decide you are done for the day, send me another note and I'll bring you out to end the day. Everyone can go back to doing what they were doing. So they go back. So the judge said, we have received a note that the jurors have concluded for today and will resume tomorrow. We'll bring them back out. So very briefly, tomorrow, go directly to the jury room. Keep an open mind. Do not watch or read about this case. We'll see each other tomorrow. All rise. Anything? No. He said, then we're all adjourned. So that's what happened today. Now, what does this mean for the Diddy man? It means a lot of things. It means that they're trying to find something on him that they could stick to say, hey, this is where we are. This is where we think we need to be at this said time. I never understood why certain situations were put in, I want to say, the rear view mirror of what is supposed to happen here. But a lot of it has, turned a new leaf or went in another direction that doesn't make a lot of sense to the masses. Like, we are all like shock and awe when it comes to a lot of the decisions that the court has been making, the course of action that was been taken. And this judge is a novice. He's only been on the bench for 2 years. And hit the like button, y'all. I mean, I know I forgot to tell y'all, but definitely hit the like button. You guys have gotten in here. We appreciate you guys being here. We appreciate your time. But definitely hit the like button as this situation has come in. Yes. Sean Diddy Combs did a service for the people that was there. All of these people never went to the police. All of these people never went to call the cop, said I wanted this man arrested for any of these things. They never went to the police. He never was charged with any crime with police at all. All these people saying that the police were called, where are they? You know, you got so many conspiracy to do. Count two should be eliminated completely. Um, I think Diddy's innocent on all charges. I think this is a witch hunt. It's political. It has nothing to do with this case at all. Most of these charges are absolutely ridiculous that they're even being proposed. Cassie wanted money and she lied on the stand. In my opinion, she told the biggest lies there was. Yes. Yes, definitely hit the like button up. Because all the counts, if you think about the counts, right? Look at the minimum years, the maximum sentence, life for racketeering. That's the count. They can't come up to a decision. The racketeering. They can't agree on the racketeering charge, which should have been easy. There is no racketeering charge. Count two, maximum sentence, life in prison. Mandatory minimum, 15 years. Count three, 10 years. Count four, maximum sentence and life in prison, 15 years. Count 10, 10 years. So to me, if he's found innocent of count two or not guilty on count two, that's going to be the same for count 3, 4, and 5. Because you can't have, let's say, oh, well, we found him guilty on count 4, but he's innocent on count 3, the transportation part. It's too much gray area there. And people just want them to be a decision. They don't want a hung jury where this man got to sit in jail until they make another case again. Don't nobody want to go through this again. Nobody wants to revisit this. They want it over. We've seen this a lot, especially in this business. All of us who've been around, we've seen this countless times, too many times to remember. Gene said he might get 10 years. Man, he should have, if he gets 10 years, he should appeal that and be a decision and be out. Because there's nothing here to hold him. There's no evidence whatsoever. A judge was dismissed this crap immediately. Case should be dismissed. That's an innocent man of the charges. These counts is all nonsense. Gene is upset with Diddy Combs, okay? He's not looking at the trial. He's not following the trial. He went up to the trial just for the publicity. He is not following this case at all. He's just riding the popularity of his hate for Diddy, which has nothing to do with any of these charges. Without these charges, Gene Deal would still be talking and hating on Diddy. That's just all to it. How is there a prostitute when nobody has been charged or called themselves prostitutes? They've been listed as entertainers or escorts. So if they've been listed as that, how are you going to put them in that umbrella? How are you going to put them in that box and say that's what they are because you wanted it to be that way? Oh, dead right. Well, the rest of the world is still trying to figure things out. See, they're still trying to say, well, is up is down still? Is this the way to go? I'm so confused. People are confused and they don't understand what in the world is happening here. It's very easy for us. Now, here's what the government is afraid of. They're afraid that they're gonna find the holes in their argument. So when they saying we want to see, when they're asking for certain things that they want to see on the tape and they want to go back to testimony, the government gets scared because now they know they don't believe your bullshit. So that's why they want to go back to get what Cassie said in certain situations to try to back it up with what this Daniel guy said. Right? And compare the notes to see what isn't right and what is right. That's why the government is like, we opposed to this. Because they know they BS is being caught. And they failed in this case to me. The prosecution did a very terrible job in proving their case. I think they were terrible. They did an egregious job to the people, a major disservice. If you're Sean Diddy Combs, why would you, after reading the text and the documents, his only mistake was going back and getting involved in another freak-off. Oh, yeah. And did I tell you I got my phone back? Yeah. My phone is back. This is the same phone that was stolen. Seen him get it back. Not a scratch on it. As I told the world, you take something from me, I come get it back. You don't play with the casino man. Now, I'm dealing with all of this stuff going on with this trial because we followed it from the beginning. Because I knew how bad people were judging this trial and looking at this trial. I knew from the outcome of everything that's been engaged in that people were not going to do the right thing. They were going to go off emotion and say, forget logic. And it was going to be very far and few of us out here telling the world the truth while everybody else is enamored with the lies. And that's all they did was lie. 24/7. Lie, 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 lie. I remember telling them, I said, they got teaser tail. She's over there. I called her the Black Nancy Grace. Next thing you know, she's on Nancy Grace. So that already lets you know where she's at, especially where her mind and her heart is at. Her mind and her heart shows exactly where her allegiance is. Her allegiance is to commercialize BS. So she's not for the people. She's a liar. She's not telling you the truth. She's lying. Now, let's get more into it, right? I want y'all to get more into this, because I don't want there to be somebody out there getting things misconstrued. We want things to be clear as a bell. You know, that's what I say, clear as a bell. There are always going to be elements, right? And in those elements, those moments, those parts where people don't feel safe, or they feel like this ain't going the way I thought the case would go, the information comes back flawed. Now, why would it come back flawed? Because AUSA Combs decided early in this case to focus on theatrics, try to do shock and awe. We're going to keep showing Cassie getting beat. We're going to keep showing her getting beat. We're going to keep doing it, and we're going to use the excuse that this is coercion, is the reason we keep showing this. We're going to keep showing this history of abuse as coercion, Your Honor, even though her text messages tell a different story. The only thing Diddy did wrong, in my case, in this whole thing, was continuing to do freak-offs after the Cassie videotape. He should have stopped freak-offs completely. And I told you, will his Asian women be his downfall? When I made that last year, will Diddy's Asian women be his downfall? Jane. The Jane case and the Cassie case. Those are the two cases that he got on board. And even though the Jane case is clear cut, there really wasn't any violence until the time she was trying to provoke it, is when I believe, in my personal opinion, she was already working with the feds. And they were sending her there to try to coerce her and sending text messages that seems coached to Diddy. Oh, this government is slick. But they ain't that slick. When women start using terminologies and language they don't normally use, there's a problem. Well, there's different elements for everything. It's cause and effect. If you were able to go out and earn a significant living for a lifestyle that you provide for your family at every turn, why would that change? Why would that go in another direction all of a sudden? That would seem a little odd to me. It would also seem odd that other people who believed in you, who said, hey, this person was on the up and up, it would seem odd to me if they were to go the opposite of that. Now, yeah, they decided early on in the case to go with theatrics and just show the image when in the opening statements they said domestic violence we okay with, we understand, our client know at that time that's what he was doing. That was the case. First of all, Jane became too much of a problem for me. She would have just had to go. You see, Diddy problem is, in his situation, they have women you can get for that do these acts. You don't have to go through this nonsense. You start dealing with all this I do anything for the money to be with you daddy thoughts and trying to convert them into doing that. And then they love it when you introduce that lifestyle to them. Most of them, they've been doing this anyway. They're just lying to you. Anything to get her bills paid. Now imagine if the son, right? He's at the age where all of this stuff is going on. And they hearing all this news about what is allegedly your mother because of the internet. And all Jane's business is in the air. And people know her for more than just being Jane. I'll never forget the guy Rick. What they say his name was? One of the sex workers who they didn't call to the stand. Why? Because he had did so many acts that were criminal. They didn't want to put him on the stand. Now, here's the thing. This guy was saying, oh, he enjoyed it. She enjoyed it. It was weird seeing a man in a mask while pleasuring himself while I was doing my thing. But she was all into it. And she was turned on. As long as he was liking it, she was loving it. Now, you had the Punisher, whatever his name is, do interviews after his testimony. And his testimony and the interviews he's done after that, he's more and more saying that Cassie was enjoying it. She didn't seem like she didn't want to be there. Again, whole different contrast than what they were feeding. Then there was Sandy. Sandy is who we call the one. Now, what happened here? Clear case of manipulation. Because Sandy, or Sandra, or however you want to pronounce the name, decided that it was no longer suitable to move in the direction that they were moving in. Sandra decided, or Sandy, decided to change the plans of the itinerary. Now, Cassie had the premiere to the movie coming out. She was bossing people around. Diddy was not there for almost any of the promo. She was cutting promo by herself. He was back in California. Oh, okay. All right. All right, y'all have a good day. No problem. Now, yeah, my Ukrainian neighbor. Knicks is getting the bench together. Who y'all get? If y'all didn't get the guy I said y'all should get, then I already know y'all going backwards. So anyway, Cassie was operating, doing all the things she's supposed to do, bossing everything around. She wasn't devastated. She wasn't fragile. She did a whole press tour. You saw there was no bruises on her face. Oh, that's the world's best makeup job. She was never hit in the face at all on the tape. So again, the imagery, the lies that was told, they wanted to paint a picture to make her look like she's a victim, which she was, of domestic violence. And her post that she made in 2024 saying it's all domestic violence and it's not okay. Believe women. I don't think you would have got an argument from anybody on that case from the moment you made the point. And they were like, you didn't believe Cassie. I believe when she said she got her ass kicked. 100%. But I didn't believe anything else she was saying. Like, he forced her to do this. He forced me to do this. He forced me to do that. I'd be like, say that drama for your mama. You was all in. I am always ready to freak off. quote unquote from Cassie. Right then and there, I'll throw this case out the window. Did you text, you always ready for a free call? Anybody coerce you to say that? I'm just telling him what he really wants to hear. Did you tell him you didn't want to do it? No, I never conveyed that to him, that I didn't want to do it. Then how was he supposed to know? Well, I gave a little smirk like this. And then he should have known. It's like, get up out my face. This whole thing stinks to high heaven. So I hope y'all on the Patreon. We finna go into a whole lot of stuff, y'all. So that's finna go and crack the doggone. Finna crack the mold, buddy. Yes, my Patreon is Carcino for life. My Cash App is Carcino, Carceno. And we'll go over some of the moves that was made today, first day of free agency. And Miles Turner is now a Milwaukee Buck. They kicked Dame out. The Knicks are still the Knicks. Pistons are signing people I'm not okay with. And we'll catch up. The Lakers are still the Lake Show. Still screwing up. But I'll chat with y'all later. We out. Free Diddy.